Detroit gold. He's the master of the board, the dealer of the deck, putting every expert opinion in check. Put every expert opinion in check. He doesn't follow trends, he creates the hook. Quiet in the room, let Brad cook. To the trenches we swear, where the dirty work's done, where the game isn't played, it's physically won. I promise to roar till my vocal cords fray, to believe in the homes and the Brad chosen way. We don't want the flash, we don't want the glitz, just the hunters who thrive in the heart of the grit. Liberty from the cellar, and justice for the years of pain. No more same old lions, just the kings of the northern reign. I pledge my allegiance, my heart and my roar, to the team that we love and the team we adore. With kneecaps for breakfast and victory in sight, we're the Detroit Lions and we're winning tonight.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is May 28th, 2026, and we're kicking off the Rise and Grind morning show a little bit late this morning. It is 8:24 a.m. We have a few things to talk about today. We're definitely going to talk about Jack Campbell once again. He addressed the media yesterday. Thanked everybody and his brother and his mother, four parents. I didn't quite understand that one, but I think I understood it later. So interesting comments by Jack Campbell. And I started digging into one of the things that he was talking about, which was this article that apparently called him the worst pick ever. And I mean, I remember all the stuff that was being said about the first two picks in 2023. Way too early for Jahmyr Gibbs. Worst pick, graded an F or a D or whatever. And then Jack Campbell, nobody could believe that the Lions, doubled down on two positions that you normally don't see in the first round unless it's, an extremely premium player that is kind of made major headlines throughout their time in college. Jack flew under the radar. Thankfully, Brad saw it and did what he did. So we're going to discuss that a little bit this morning. And I went and tried to find some of the old articles. I don't know if I really found the right one. I mean, I've searched everywhere, and it is so difficult to go all the way back to 23 just to find stuff. If you're a regular user of Google or any AI, to kind of help you search for things, it's tough. And so I think I found a couple of things we could talk about. Obviously, they talked about the picks on CBS, which he referenced, so we'll go through that. Day one OTA on Wednesday. There's already a couple of names popping, and Tim Twentyman, who we try to highlight a lot throughout the offseason, was already talking about Gil Howard and what his potential is here this season. His athleticism, his versatility, and how it is quite possible that he may outlive his draft stock or where he was drafted and be a much better player than what some people or what some fans are anticipating. And then this morning, if you guys had the opportunity to get an email for the game in Germany, tickets were on sale for American Express cardholders. I have been on the site all morning, and I could not find two tickets together to save my life. I could find two single tickets, sitting opposite rows, opposite sides of the stadium. And the ticket prices for American Express holders was not that bad. I mean, comparatively to what I've seen, most tickets average probably $600. And I was able to, if I was going to pull the trigger on these tickets, it was only about $300 a ticket, sitting down in the lower bowl, like the 12th row back, but not being able to sit next to anybody. And then the weirdest thing I've ever seen, they were selling kids tickets under age 16. So my question is, if you bought that ticket and then you showed up to the game, and I mean, would they turn you away? because you're not. I've never seen that before. Like, I've never seen that in the States, that they sell tickets for, for people under the age of 16. But hey, it is what it is. It doesn't help out the situation that there's not a whole lot of tickets available, at least on this site this morning through Ticketmaster. Bit clumsy of a site. Not really that great as far as spelling things out. Doesn't even convert anything to U.S. dollars. And, kind of a difficult site to navigate. And then whenever you try to pick a seat and put it in your cart, it didn't work. So, yeah, I'm out. I'm just going to have to pay a premium price later if this is a game that we end up going to. But I was hoping to snag a couple of tickets this morning, at least hang on to them. If all else fails, you could probably flip them for 5 times their value later anyway. But it is what it is. So if you have an opportunity to check it out, check it out. You should have, if you would have signed up for the email that I told you guys to sign up for on Twitter, you would have got the notification this morning, or maybe it was last night that I got the notification about the tickets this morning. So be interesting to see who all goes and where we're all sitting. I've been looking at all sorts of things over there, and it's about $1,800 round trip, hotel for 7 nights, 6 nights, 7 days, transport, whether you're renting a car or you're going to utilize the train system that they have or the other transport that they have there. And a lot of things in Munich are, within walking distance, from a lot of these hotels. Like, you really don't really need a vehicle unless you're wanting to travel. And of course, it's going to be like our fall, late fall, weather. It's going to probably 40, 50 degrees, a lot of clouds, no sun, a little bit of rain at this time of year in November in Munich. So it's not going to be a great time to go out and look at gardens or anything else that you're interested in, but you can go around and, check out the cathedrals or, anything else that they have in that area. But $1,800 isn't bad. I mean, hey, a trip abroad for that kind of price is pretty inexpensive per person. I found those on Priceline, and then also a friend of mine that is a agent was also looking at some things for me to book multiple flights and hotels and that. So they're available. You don't have to pay the $4,500 that the one company or On Location or anything like that they're charging. They're charging so much money to get out there when you can do it for like a third of the price. And which reminds me, don't forget about the Ride Together, Roar Together tour. We have buses going to the NFC North teams this year. That's the plan. We got to fill them up soon. Otherwise, it's going to be just like last year, and we won't be able to do it. I will have all of the information up this weekend. I was searching late last night to make sure that I had all the information, and I'll get it up. If you have any questions, you can always email me at mailbag@rockdown.com, and I'll get back with you within 24 hours. Typically is when I'll respond. So anyway, good morning, everybody. I hope you all doing well this morning. Let's dip right into it. And do me a favor, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you guys subscribe. I had to get rid of a few people. Obviously, we know who. So we got to make up for those losses. All right, we got to make up for those losses. Let's just do it, right? Let's just do the thing. Like, share, subscribe. Let's get it on this morning. So let's talk about Jack. Let's bring Jack in. Let's hear what he had to say. It's about a 20-minute conversation with the media. I don't think I can speed this up a little bit. Maybe I can. Nah, it'd be too fast. We're going to listen to Jack real quick. I'll start. We'll talk about it. And interesting conversation with the media yesterday, man. Pretty funny. I didn't realize Jack had humor. I really didn't. I didn't realize he had some humor in him, but he does. He's just so dry. He's all business. He's all ball. And it's interesting to hear him talk yesterday. Here we go. Jack Campbell.
I guess I'd just like to start off and just say thank you to the Lord for giving me my unique talents and abilities and putting me here. I think he has me in Detroit for a reason. Ever since I got drafted here, I'd like to thank my family, my wife, my 4 parents, Kyle, Drew, Sydney, Brady, and Katie, grandparents, just all the influential people throughout my life that have got me up to this point. And it's a point, I guess, where honestly, like, people think that it's going to change, like you wake up and you have like everything you ever dreamt of. But I can tell you this much: like, I woke up and I still had the same problems. I'm still Jack Campbell. So for me, it's just added fuel to my fire. I'm super grateful to the organization, the Lions, Brad, Rod Wood, Diz, Charlie Atkins, all the people behind the scenes who helped me through this whole process. And then, of course, the Ford family, Miss Sheila. I'm just super grateful that they saw something in me and believed in me and wanted to keep me around. So, I mean, I'm just super grateful to all of them.
All right, I'm going to pause real quick. So, what he was talking about there just a few moments ago where he said, people think that, when this stuff happens that you just, all your problems go away, or, you wake up and all of a sudden you have everything that you've ever wanted. Look, this guy's had everything that he's already wanted with his first contract. There's not too many people that make it to the NFL, number one, and to be drafted at 18th overall. I think he's already made $12 million throughout his career already, at least. Not including all the other little luxuries that they get and the comp dollars and everything else that they get through advertising rights and everything else, likeness, name, all that good stuff, jersey sales. So he's want for nothing. Like, Jack's wanting for nothing. This contract, I mean, it's just sugar on top, right? But I love what he said there. Just because he's got boatloads more of money now, it doesn't change who you are. It doesn't. If anything, it could probably add more problems for some people. But for Jack, I love it, man. I'm still Jack. I still woke up Jack. I still got the same problems. Look, I still hurt in the same places. I still bleed the same. I still live in the same house. Maybe he's moving. Who knows? But he's still Jack. And I think that he's just such a breath of fresh air in today's society. Like, Jack Campbell is, I mean, look, I hope my sons, and I know that I got some really good boys, but I hope that when they get a little bit older and they look back at things and they realize that money doesn't solve anything. It really doesn't. The relationships that you make and the type of person you are to other people, and that's why helping others first is so important to me. That's what matters, right? That's what matters. So Jack is all about this, man. He's just all about doing the right thing and wanting to do right by others. So, I mean, Jack is just a special guy. I'm glad he's in Detroit. Big time breath of fresh air. Let's continue on with Jack Campbell here.
The whole process was super professional. They treated me like I would expect. Like, I feel like you guys would expect them to treat a great player in this organization, and you can see all the people before me and how they've treated them. So, just super grateful for the opportunity to come out here and have a couple more years with the guys here. I'd like to thank Dan, Shep, and Ham. I feel like those are probably the three guys that I probably relate to the closest on a daily basis. They've pushed me and molded me into a player that I feel like I sometimes didn't see, and they showed me that I was that player. So I mean, it's just really surreal, and I can't thank enough people. My agent, he did a fantastic job. Chase, I'm super grateful for you. And to the fans, I'm just super grateful and excited to have the opportunity to put it on and go out there and truly give you what you want to see. And I feel like that's a thing that's kind of opened my eyes, is just people, how much they care about the team and how the team is just the heartbeat of the city. We're in a city full of working class people that just every single day grind it out. So I feel for those people, because I see firsthand, like my brother back home, I see how hard he works. I see how growing up, I saw.
Hold on, Jack. Your brother's working hard, man. It's time to retire the guy. Bring him in, man. Bring him into the fold. Give him a job, right? A lot of these players do that. They take care of their family, but I just have this sneaking suspicion that the Campbell family, they don't put their hands out, man. These guys, these ladies that have raised this man, they work for everything that they got. It's the right type of player. It's the right type of attitude. So, hearing that his brother's over there working his ass off, doing whatever he's doing, right? That tells you that the money didn't change them. It didn't change anything. They're still going to be who they are at the end of the day. And that is why Jack Campbell is now the leader of this defense, because he's going to be that same player each and every day. He's going to come in and want to make sure that everybody around him is working in that same manner, right? Working in that same with that same effort each and every single day. There's not a better player that you could have given me in 2023 if I was a GM of a team than Jack Campbell. And no shade to Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, he's a special human, absolutely. But Jack is he's a team-defining player that you can build everything around, not just the defense, the entire team. So I'm super, super proud for this man. Like, he's such a good dude.
My parents worked for what they got, so I just got a deep appreciation for people who show up to work every single day, even if no one notices, even if no one writes stories about them, get to work, do their job, and take care of their families and keep their family first. Just a great appreciation. And I mean,
I'm going to pause it again because he just said another one, man. Like, it's the people that aren't noticed, right? I mean, you know who we're talking about. It's the people that when the camera's not on, what are you doing? When someone's not looking at you, what are you doing? And I think that really defines who Jack is. Like, he's going to work and be the same guy day in, day out, down in, down out, practice in, practice out. I mean, it's just who he is. But more importantly, he's describing the city of Detroit. Now, I'm not from Detroit, but I'm all about that city. I mean, I've watched that city, get burnt down and build itself back up over the last decade or so. It's an amazing, thriving ecosystem of just solid, hardworking people. I mean, there's some rats there too, right? Let's be honest. There's some grimy people in that city as well. We know who they are. But that's not who we're talking about today. We're talking about the city of Detroit, the people that go in, that work their ass off when the camera's not on them, because they have mouths to feed, they have a family to take care of, and they're going to go in and they're going to punch the clock, and then they're going to go home and they're going to deal with whatever they got to deal with. Jack's the same way, man. He's coming in, he's punching that clock, and he probably never goes home, but he's going to work as hard, if not harder, than anybody on that field day in and day out. So couldn't have happened to a better guy.
It's literally what the city of Detroit epitomizes. So that's what I'm going to try to epitomize. Just that's how I was raised. That's how I guess I see life, and that's my perspective on things. So, I mean, you guys already know what you're going to get from me every single day. Nothing less than the standard, which is we're setting the standard at the highest level this season. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just super grateful and get to be around a little bit longer, so I'll take that. Yeah.
Jack, you talked about, just this contract adding fuel to your fire to continue to work hard. You always been seem like a self-motivated person.
Yeah.
But you come to Detroit and you hear the outside noise with you being selected so high, and then you're able to, have come into this building where they believe in you to actually pick you that high. How was it to just go through that, experience that? I mean, and fight through that, and then get to this point now where you kind of proved everybody wrong in that situation?
Yeah, it's funny. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was just a big moment in my life. I worked and achieved what I wanted to achieve, which is to make it to the NFL. I kind of had a nearsighted vision. Like, I didn't think it would turn into this at first. And I feel like that's kind of, at least my perspective on things, kind of what you got to do. Like, I got to go earn a spot now. I can't come into this thinking like I'm going to be an all-pro right first. Like, it just steps to everything. So when I got drafted on draft night, yeah, I remember everything. I remember a lot of things that were said. A guy from my hometown mailed me a letter. I still have it today. Just the CBS Sports article, just talking about how, like, this is probably the worst pick in the NFL history. And I'm just like, you guys are for sure. So, I mean, all that stuff, like, it wasn't about proving them wrong. I feel like for me, it was proving the people who believed in me right. And that ever, like, started back at Iowa. Coming out of high school, I only had Iowa State, who, like, even wanted to recruit me. Like, at the end, Minnesota offered me. So, like, it's just something that I feel like I've carried along my whole life. And so it was really nothing new. I knew the type of player.
I can't believe this. Like, how did so many teams in this country miss out on Jack Campbell? Could you imagine if Jack was at the University of Michigan? I mean, just think about that for a moment. Think about the team that y'all had in 21, 22, right, leading up to 23. Could you imagine Jack on that squad? I mean, could you imagine him at Alabama? Could you imagine him? And I'm not saying he's a perfect defensive fit for some of these teams, but at the U of M he would have been. I can't believe how many teams missed out on Jack Campbell. And I love when he said, this CBS article said that it was the worst pick ever. He's like, yep, you guys are for sure. And what he's going to say in a minute here, I mean, is just hilarious to me because it's all the people that are, saying what he's about to say. I'm not going to give it away. And he's 100% right, but I'll tell you this. I know where I've been in the support of Jack Campbell. And I know where a lot of you have been in support of Jack Campbell. Let's hear what he has to say.
I was going to be. I feel like in those moments that things weren't going my way, you just got to continue to remind yourself who you are. And I feel like, again, like that kind of goes back, like my family was huge in that whole thing. A lot of people were praying for me. My wife, she was right there beside me. So, like, it's not just me who's doing this. It's everyone behind the scenes. And I really do want to let, and that's what I, on a daily basis, try to let them know, how appreciative I am because they saw just the progression all the way up until now. So, I mean, it's funny how things work. I don't get into all the stuff outside. People can think what they want to think. At the end of the day, I know who I am as a person. I know who I am as a player. I know that the organization believed in me wholeheartedly. They saw something in me. And now it's up to me to choose what I'm going to do. And I feel like in today's world, I feel like we need to maybe improve on that a little bit. Yeah.
This guy is so humble, man. And he's not lying. And this is not the part where I'm saying he's saying something. We'll get there. But I got to take a page out of Jack Campbell because he's saying something that resonates with me, especially over the last few weeks. I know who I am. I know the things that I do. I know where my heart resides. I know the people that I've helped. I know the people that I take care of. And nobody else has to know that. I know the people that trust me. And I know the relationships that I've built with a lot of you. And so that's the only thing that matters to me. The noise is going to stay the noise. And it's those individuals, it's the noise that is, on the outside talking smack about Jack, or me in this case. They're not going to go anywhere, right? They are who they are. Probably haven't been anywhere in their life. Shady people do shady things. And in this case, trying to throw shade on Jack, like he knows what he means to this team. But at the end of what did he just say? I need to improve. We all need to improve each and every day. If you're not learning, man, each and every day, if you're not doing something different to try to make yourself better each and every day, you're only going to get worse, right? People are going to pass you by. And Jack gets that. He knows that he still needs to improve. Yeah, he's already an all-pro. Doesn't matter to him. He wants to go win a Super Bowl. And staying in Detroit was more important to him than getting the biggest contract for any linebacker, which he finished, second, I think. So he's pretty close. But the money doesn't even matter to him. He just wants to win for the city of Detroit. He's all about the city of Detroit, a place that he was not born and raised, but a team and a city that has adopted him. Kind of like the prodigal son now that needs to go help this team make it to the level that we have yet to see. And that could be this year. It really could be. But he's all about it. He ain't going to stop until the job is done.
Just a little bit that story. I mean, was that a friend who sent that to you? Just a random fan? Do you have that taped
it was
on the
like
mirror?
A guy out of a different town. I played basketball against his son in high school. And he sent me just like a book, like a dream big book. It was like, so I get that in the mail. I don't know who this guy is. I'm like, all right, sure. I open the first page. And there's that letter in there, and it's talking about the draft analysis on things. And I look up, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs, F or D+. So I'm like, all right, I feel pretty good about myself. I can't be like that. I look down, it says F. It's like Jack Campbell is probably the worst football player of all time. And I said, yeah, probably. You're probably right. But I saw, I guess Brad Holmes just saw something in me. And I guess the people who get to work with me see something in me. And I just try to be who I am every single day. And you just can't ride those rides. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Because now it's like I got people texting me like, bro, I always believed in you ever since. I'm like, no doubt you did, for sure. But
my God, I can't stop laughing over here. I had no idea that Jack had some humor in him. He's just so damn dry, you know? Hold on, I got to get rid of my tears. Like, I literally am crying over here because I've watched this 3 times now this morning. This is the 3rd time. And every time he brings me to tears, for sure, right? Yep, sure you did. For sure. Like, I love it. Just like, hey, I'm the worst content creator in the world. Well, great. The 4 million views say something different, right? Or how nobody would ever watch me if it wasn't for somebody else. Okay. Same thing for Jack, man. Someone saying that he was the worst football player ever, an F or a D plus, whatever, as his grade, the draft analysis. This is what I'm going to tell y'all. And I've been telling y'all this for 3 years. Stop listening to people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I'm not saying that I know any more than anyone else, but there's a lot of people in media that seem to think that they know a lot, right? That they know what's right for this team. And if you go and check the receipts, just about every single one of them was wrong about Jahmyr Gibbs, about Kirby Joseph. I'm not going to care about the injury. The dude's a damn good football player. And about Jack Campbell. Every single one of them was wrong. The receipts are out there. Go look at the crap that they printed 3 years ago. And then go look at the stuff that I, either print or talk about in the last 3 years. Huge supporter of Jack. So when Jack says, yeah, okay, for sure, you've been supporting me since day one. This guy has, right? And a lot of you have too. You all saw it. But then again, there's a lot of people out there that thought that this was the worst pick ever. Why would you waste a 1st-round pick on Jack Campbell? Now, you know what the Lions probably did that you could go back and look at and say, okay, maybe you shouldn't have taken him at 18. He probably would have went somewhere else, right? I mean, the talk was he was going to be gone in the next couple of picks anyway. But when you delete the 5th-year option, the whole reason why you got the guy in was to have the 5th-year option. So I heard this argument the other day where someone is saying, well, why did you take him in the 1st round if you just weren't even going to pick up the 5th-year option? Well, if you didn't have that 5th-year option available, if you didn't have him, in the first, you didn't take him in the 1st round, you would have been talking about a contract last year, right? Last year, not this year. So that's why Brad did what he did. Brad was hoping that this was going to work out, and he was right. But if it didn't work out, then so be it. But if it does work out to the expectation that he had, he knew that he was going to have a problem, potentially paying the guy later on. And having that 5th-year option is great, but he didn't need it. They were able to work out a different deal. But if had that 5th-year option not been there, this deal would have been last year, and that could have created some problems because the money might have not have been there. As you guys know, there's other players that have been signed over the last couple of years, and the money just hasn't been there. To use Brad's word, constraints. But anyway, for all of you that doubted Jack Campbell, you know what? Just raise your hand and admit it. I'm very comfortable in my own skin to say that I missed the boat on something. I do it all the time. But I'm also the first one to tell you if I got something right.
I don't know. It's been good. It's been just so good, and it's been refreshing to just have the support system around me. I don't have to worry about the outside noise. I know who I am. My family knows who I am. At the end of the day, if I didn't play football, I'd be the same person. But I'm just super grateful to be in Detroit, and the fans are just something that I hold near and dear because I just feel like this city is just so special, and it's just reminds me a lot about growing up and the people who influenced me.
Do you ever look at it like Amon-Ra, memorize the receivers that were for you? Don't ever.
That,
you just know that it's
I just looked at the thing. I was more interested in the note and what it had to say. But there was a lot of things said, but and it always will be. And that's something
I ever shown Jahmyr that story?
Jahmyr,
so that he knows that he was also graded in it.
I don't know. I don't know. Jahmyr's probably seen everything. Every time I see him, he's on his phone. And then he goes out there and does what he does. So more power to him. He's probably seen this story, but at least he wasn't the worst pick in the draft. So he might have been the second, maybe.
Jack, you've seen this team's re-sign, core players. When that happened, did you, manifest like I want to be next, and to be part of that blueprint that they have, draft, develop, re-sign?
Now coming in here, I was totally focused on myself. To be quite frank with you, I feel like, obviously in the NFL, if you don't perform, you're kind of out. It's a business, and I understand that. And like I totally understand them declining my fifth-year option because I know it's a business thing, and I have the utmost respect for how they feel. Me and Brad I feel like communicating through the whole process. He was very professional about everything. I tried to stay professional with my situation and everything going forward. So I feel like, no, it was never about trying to be the next Panay, never about being trying to be the next St. Brown, Hutch. I mean, J-Mo, Kirby, like all those. It was never about that. I feel like for me, it was just being about the best player that I can be. And that was the whole focus this whole time, and it's going to be the continued focus. I guess now I just get the byproduct of like the fruits of my labor. But yeah, no, it's never been about trying to be the next one. For me, it's been trying to prove the front office right and the people who have believed in me through my whole career right up until this point.
Now that you're part of that group,
Yeah.
does that feel good? Not that you rest on that.
Yeah,
but
no.
Obviously, you're clearly part of the core.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm very appreciative that they believe in me and want me to be a part of the core. So, I mean, for them to have that belief in me, I mean, it only makes me more motivated because I know that I'll be a part of something special in the future, and I have been. I don't really look in the past quite a bit, like this whole career, like I haven't really looked back, but there's been some special teams that have come through here, and we need to continue to keep that up. So, but it was never about being the next guy. I feel like for me, it was always focused on like, how can I be the best at what I do and what I'm asked to do in Shep's scheme and in AG's scheme, and then how can I bring the guys around me to be their best self. So
we talked to him this offseason. He said this is Jack Campbell's defense. No question about it. It's his defense that runs through him. I'm just curious your thoughts when a coordinator has that much confidence in you and just how that relationship has grown even more now than this offseason.
No, I've just been super appreciative of them. I feel like now stepping into this offseason, the last couple of years I've been the youngest guy in the room. So it's been kind of just a dynamic of like trying to earn the leadership spot, but like I'm still the young guy in the room. Whereas now I feel like get thrown into the fire, which is like what I want. Like I'll never forget, like the best thing that ever happened to me in my career was my second year, everybody getting hurt, with all due respect to the guys that got hurt, because I had the opportunity to go out there, get a bunch of game reps.
Hold on now. He's going to say something that I just said yesterday. Y'all will remember when, the people that were in here yesterday, what I said about Jack in that year and why it was so important for him. And it's funny that he says the same exact damn thing later on, 10 hours later or whatever it was, about his situation in 2024. Or I think it's 2024 is what he was talking about. Let me rewind it here for just a moment. And we'll listen to him, because this is exactly what I said yesterday is how I felt Jack was made. Like this gave him that springboard to becoming Jack.
Into this offseason, the last couple of years I've been the youngest guy in the room. So it's been kind of just a dynamic of like trying to earn the leadership spot, but like I'm still the young guy in the room. Whereas now I feel like get thrown into the fire, which is like what I want. Like I'll never forget, like the best thing that ever happened to me in my career was my second year, everybody getting
24.
hurt, with all due respect to the guys that got hurt, because I had the opportunity to go out there, get a bunch of game reps. It didn't care if I was doing good or bad. I was the only one left. So go get your reps. So like learning through that whole season and like what worked, what didn't work, how can I improve that? I feel like that's where I guess probably I might have earned some respect in that aspect, and taking on the load of being the main communicator out there. Now that, I mean, it's nice to have it like be my defense, but again, my perspective, I don't think that your defense can be elite if you put it all on one guy. I want all the 11 guys to think that like they have a part of it, and like I want like in my opinion, and this is just how I think, if you don't think that it's your defense, each 11 out there, and like you take responsibility and like you have pride in what you're doing, I feel like that you won't be elite. So it's just.
All right, let's break that down real quick. So yesterday I mentioned that when Jack was the only one left on the field, that is when he had his biggest growth. And he was literally the only one left. I mean, everybody got hurt. And so let's see what happened that year. Was that was Anzalone went down with a broken forearm or wrist, right? And Malcolm Rodriguez went out, I think, with an ACL or Achilles or something. Who else went down in that room? Barnes went down with a knee. Who else went down in that room? But everybody got injured up front, right? I mean, Hutchinson went down in week 6. I think Barnes went down in week 4. Levi, he played the year. Then Ali McNeil got injured, I believe, in week 15 against the Bills. So yeah, he was literally the only guy left in the front 7. And so that's a big growth moment for him. It's a giant growth moment for him. And then what he just said right there, he used the word epitomizes, early in his conversation. This to me is what epitomizes a Mike linebacker, the leader of your defense, in the mentality that you're supposed to have. I don't feel like he's being cocky or arrogant or anything like that, because everyone has said this is now Jack Campbell's defense. I believe this has been Jack Campbell's defense from at least 2025. There was kind of that crossover. Alex Anzalone was still hanging around, but Jack was making the calls last year, all year. And we've heard from Shep that when he communicates with Jack, he understands that Jack already knows what the play is, what the plan is. He can already read what's going on in Calvin Shepard's head. Now, Calvin's also said that can be a little troublesome at times, because, hey, I still need to communicate it to you. I get it that you know what's probably right for the defense. And he's also said that at some point, he may not even have to call plays in the defense, and Jack's just that good, and he'll be able to do it. I would still like to have my defensive coordinator to be involved. But what he's saying here is everyone's saying it's my defense. That's great. But if every guy on the field doesn't believe that this is their defense, then how are we going to be elite together? Every single person needs to have some stock in this defense, in this team. Every single one of those guys needs to be a leader in their own right. Every single one of those guys needs to feel responsible on every single play. And that's what Jack's trying to communicate here. That sure, it's my defense by default because I'm the Mike linebacker, but it's the other 10 guys around me. It's their defense too. They are just as equally important. And so just because Aiden is a defensive end, that's the only reason why he's not calling the plays, right? Otherwise, if Aiden was a middle linebacker, he'd be calling the plays. But the point is they each all have some sort of a unique ability to affect what happens on every play. And each and every single one of them has to be responsible for their play every single down. And that's what Jack is trying to communicate here. Y'all need to be just as responsible as me. Don't let it all fall on my shoulders. It needs to fall on every single one of us for us to take that next step. And they've been, teetering, top 5 defense, top 8 defense, top 10 defense, for long periods throughout last year, the year before, and 2023. And then things kind of fall off after all the injuries. And so this is a year where they got to hit the ground running, and they can't let it up, right? They got to hit the ground running. They got to put the tempo in the rhythm into this defense and just keep on pressing the gas. And that's what Jack's trying to get through to these guys.
Something that I've always kept to in my own head is like, I've always thought that it's my defense, but now that it's this time of like, it's really just me being out there, like being able to lead and being able to find better ways to connect with guys so then I can help them out. I feel like that's where I got to take that next step this offseason, is to just make connections with guys to help bring them along. And for me, I have no excuses. I've been in this system for 4 years now. So messing up is not really okay at this point, and that's something that I try not to do. So,
did you guys, now that you're back together, how did you guys kind of process last year not making the playoffs, and how is that kind of driving you guys this year?
I don't think about the past a lot, but it definitely is a chip on your shoulder. And I'll say this, every single guy they brought in was for a reason, and every single guy that they brought in, I've been super impressed with. And I feel like you got to have the right mindset. We're in a league now. I don't know if I should say this, but we're in a league now where like they don't really let you play the way that it probably should be played or the way it should look like on the field. So you got to get guys with a mindset of just like, I'll do whatever it takes to win. And especially now with younger guys coming in, I mean, they've come from, and this is just how it is, but a lot, like the NIL, people telling them how good they are. Like you just kind of got to learn to be at the bottom of the barrel and grind it out again and just learn like this isn't 7-on-7 that we're playing, even though they're trying to make it that way. And you got to have a guy with the right mindset that like I'm going to go like.
Wow, he's trying to tippy toe here with not calling the NFL out, and at the same time, I think what he's trying to say is with the rules the way that they are, and the defense not allowed to do certain things anymore. What he just said is, you know, they need to play a certain way, but they can't play a certain way because the NFL won't allow it because of the rules and the way that they're instructed to play. And I really loved what he just said about the NIL because all of these guys that are coming up, they've been getting paid through college, and he's right. Everyone's telling them, look how good you are, man. Here's $1 million. Look how good you are, man. Here's $500,000. You're amazing, right? You need to stick with our team. You're awesome. And then you come to the NFL and you kind of need to get slapped silly a little bit and realize I'm not that good and I need to work. And you have to come in with that mentality that he's talking about. And Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes making sure that they find that mentality. Why do you think it is that we have a guy by the name of Skylar Gill-Howard? Why do you think we have a guy by the name of Tyree West or Jimmy Rolder or Derek Moore? Not the number one names on the list on a lot of people's sheets, right? They're just not. Blake Miller probably was first-round draft pick, but he also has the mentality. He's been working it through 54 starts. Tyree West had to earn his way. Skylar Gill-Howard played on one of the most elite defenses in all of college and had to find his way, but he kept working, and no matter what they told him, he worked harder. And no matter where he came from, no matter where any of these players come from, they continue to work harder because they have something to prove. And if you don't have that mentality, you're not going to last in Detroit because these are the guys that we need to go out there and do the dirty work, right? This is not a game anymore in Detroit where it's all about flash or pomp and circumstance. That's not Detroit, man. That is not what they're trying to breed over there. They don't want these guys that are all prima donnas, and they look good on game day, wearing their chains and their bling and doing all this stuff. No, they want them to come in a damn ripped T-shirt, jeans, and some scrubby shoes and go to work. I mean, how many times have you seen Jack Campbell ever wear something really nice, right, outside of maybe a game day? I mean, this guy comes in who he is, right? I mean, a lot of the guys are that way. For your Monday night games, your Thursday night games, your Sunday night games, your national televised games, these guys might dress up a little bit. But for the majority of the time, these guys are coming in just like regular dudes, man. They just want to put on that hard hat, grab that lunch pail, and go to work. And that is the mentality that is going to get you over the hump. So when you hear people say, oh, I'm sick of the grit, and grit's not enough. Grit is everything. It is everything to how this team has come this far. If you don't have the grit factor, you don't have the it factor at all. And so for people that want to, land-based Brad for bringing in certain players or, bringing in players in the offseason and free agency or not doing anything or standing down at the trade deadline, it's because those players don't fit what they're trying to do. And the fit and the culture is more important than anything. Just because the people saying this stuff don't really fit in anywhere else, well, they might want to take a page out of Brad and Dan and realize there's more to this than just that big, shiny object sitting up on the mantle that looks pretty, right? But no one's ever going to touch it because it looks too pretty. These guys want to get dirty, right? They want to do the dirty work, and they want to play to the level, like Jack is saying here, the level that they're allowed to play to, they need to push that envelope as far as it'll go. And so getting the right players matters more than anything else. I super appreciate what he's saying.
I don't know. It's just like, it's a mindset that I really can't explain, but it's like, you got to like kind of be dark. I don't know. Yeah.
In your mind, does this defense have that?
Hold on.
I mean, I
Let's
think
go
so.
back and listen to
Like,
that again.
even though they're trying to make it that way. And you got to have a guy with the right mindset that like, I'm going to go like, I don't know. It's just like, it's a mindset that I really can't explain, but it's like, you got to like kind of be dark. I don't know. Yeah.
In your mind, does this defense have that?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I can't get into every person's head, but like, I feel like everybody I've like kind of talked with, and it's something that I've noticed is nothing's more important than winning a Super Bowl. And again, like, it's so cliche to say that in May because everyone's goal is to win a Super Bowl. But I just feel like we have the guys that we're going to, like, if you get knocked down, they're getting back up every single time. They're never giving up. And you just got bell cows. And I feel like that's something that I've kind of noticed early on. Today was our first day of phase 3. It wasn't perfect, but it was refreshing to see guys out there who are just hungry. And I feel like that's going to carry you a long way in this league. So,
Hey, I got another contract one for you. You obviously know Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa, and I'm sure you're familiar with the similarities with your situations.
Yeah.
You know that people had sort of talked about. What conversations, if any, did you have with him about how his situation played out and how it applied to you? And have you you might have been able to command more money had you waited, right? Use that leverage, gone to free agency, whatever.
Yeah.
Why was it important to not do that to get this done now?
for me, like, and I told Brad this, the number one thing for me through this whole entire process is to remain a Lion because I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this organization. I want to be able to, me and my wife absolutely love it here. The people have just been so nice to us. And it just feels like home. I would say I did not talk to Tyler. Me and Tyler are like pretty good friends, but I didn't talk to Tyler. I mean, he obviously did what he did, and like more power to him. And I'm super happy and super excited for him because he deserves it. I remember he's a year older than me, so we went at it a lot at Iowa. So anytime an Iowa Hawkeye gets paid, like it's a good day. And I know what he puts into it, and I know his approach on the game, and I know everything that it means to him. So I've just been super appreciative of him, our relationship. But I didn't talk to him just because I kind of came in with the goal of like I want to be a Lion, no matter what. And me and my wife talked. I prayed a lot, and I just knew like, shoot, I mean, let's be realistic here. Like I already have more than enough. So for me, it was more about the principle of just like, I just want to be in the elite category because I feel like I'm an elite linebacker. And that's the way Brad saw it. And that's the way everyone upstairs saw it. And I'm like, I'll play for just, I feel like for me, I don't need to be the highest paid. Even though the guys around the league would probably appreciate that because it bumps up everything. So I'm sorry to them. But I just feel like for me, like I knew what I wanted in this. I want to help the team in any ways possible. Just to continue to keep the core together. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like it was fair for the team, and I'm more than happy with everything that they blessed me with. So,
Jack, we know you play this game because you love this game, but you just signed an $80 million contract to play football. What would 10-year-old Jack Campbell say about that?
Shoot, I don't even know if 10-year-old, I was probably playing flag football, and I probably didn't even know what I was doing. I don't know. It's hard to even like think about it right now and even like think about how it's going to affect my family and like the generations behind me. And but I know I know it'll help bless a lot of people. And that's like my main goal through this whole thing. But he'd probably be super excited, but he would also probably thank everybody that got him to that point, that was behind the scenes, that took me to football practice, soccer practice, whatever, baseball practice, drove 45 minutes to go watch me play in a tournament of basketball or something. I know he would like be appreciative of that. And so I would just think he'd be happy. Don't get me wrong, but he would, I think he would thank everybody that helped him get here. So,
Jack, where were you when you got the call? Duck blind? Jim?
No, the call, I was actually here. So I was going through phase 1 and phase 2, and me and my agent, obviously he's kind of like the middleman. We were having like great conversations, and we found out probably like a week before I signed, and it's been great. And I think it says a lot about him and the team that it didn't get out. So, I mean, because he could go and gloat about the deal that he got done. I mean, I could go gloat probably about what I did or put some secretive message on social media. It's for you guys to find out. But I just feel like both sides did a good job. And then I know like the fan announced it, so that was pretty cool and a great opportunity for her and pretty cool for the organization. So, I mean, why not? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
We're thrilled.
All right, good stuff, man. Good stuff here from Jack Campbell. Man, super, super appreciative for his words, his effort, who he is, what he's trying to build, the legacy he's going to leave behind. But man, it all started yesterday, right? Getting this team ready to go this year, and I have full confidence that Jack is going to have this defense ready. And I have full confidence in Calvin Shepard. I know a lot of people out there are second-guessing Calvin Shepard and the decision for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes to elevate Calvin Shepard to the defensive coordinator position. And I'll just say from my own personal belief, I think you're wrong. I think that Calvin Shepard is exactly what we needed. He brings a younger version of an Aaron Glenn that has that same tenacity, former player, someone that has great vision, great insight, super smart. I mean, if you listen to Calvin Shepard talk, all you hear is the X's and O's, but the intelligence factor is different than X's and O's. You can tell that there's a lot of wheels up there spinning. There's not a whole lot of free space in that brain, man. Calvin Shepard is super smart. And I will say this, throughout the offseason and kind of starting with free agency and seeing what the Lions were doing, going through the draft. And I was, one of the first to talk about the defensive changes and the new scheme changes that I saw that there was going to be something new with this team. And I don't know if it was Dan or Brad that said it. Let me think here. Was it Dan or Brad? It might have been Dan that said that now there's going to be like 3 ways kind of built into this defense. I'm pretty sure it was Dan. But yeah, it was Dan. But doing a deep, kind of an off-season review behind the scenes and taking a look at everything, I started to see the flexibility, and now you're turning this into an install here with OTAs, and some of these things are not going to be seen. Like, I don't expect the Lions to show anything when the media is there. I really don't. The way that they have done everything this offseason is different, and they're trying to be a little bit more secretive. From my guy that I've talked about, my source, he's kind of heard the grumblings himself, where the Lions are trying to do things different this year, but they don't want anybody to know. It's one thing to be excited about what you're going to do. It's another thing to kind of give up too much information that they could come back and you have some blowback. It's everyone's going to know what they're doing by week 3, 4, or 5. So let that happen. Let them figure it out. But I don't think that they're going to know everything. I see a big change in this defense, and it starts with the players. It starts with the body type, the body size, the speed. I see a lot more speed on this defense. And when you look at, I know I talk about it a lot, but when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, when you look at the New England Patriots, when you look at the Giants even, they got a scary-ass defense. But if you look around the league and you look at what's kind of been happening over the last few years, it's speed. These guys are getting, versatile players that can play a multiple or versatile, type of a position. Defensive ends that, hand in the dirt or up, right? Guys that can drop back into coverage. Defensive tackles that are 280 pounds. That tells me that they're looking for speed. A guy like Skylar Gill-Howard, who has the speed, former linebacker, former running back in high school, has the speed to go sideline to sideline, also has the strength and the power to maul some guards and then slip, between the cracks and get after the quarterback. that tells me, even with good morning to Hassanin Mahdi, like Ahmed Hassanin, like his body type, his size, his speed is different too. Now, we didn't get to see enough of it last year because of the injury, but I'm super excited to see where it goes this year. And it's going to be a loaded room. So again, I talked about hockey line shifts where you're going to see more than likely, now I haven't seen anything yet, and no, I don't have the playbook, but I think you're going to see, 4, 5, 6 guys, not just on third to fourth down, not just on first to second down, but often you're going to have 4, 5, 6 guys kind of coming in and coming out. And the reason why they're doing that is to keep everybody fresh. And then it's like going from speed ball to curveball, right? Or curveball to, the change up. You're changing the tempo on the offense. You're bringing in, somebody that plays a little bit different or a different style to their game, which is now going to throw off the offense, which, let's be real, the offense really doesn't change a whole lot, does it? You have the same players on the offensive line. They don't change. You have the same quarterback throughout the game. So there's at least 6 players that aren't going to change. Your tight end isn't really going to change a whole lot, your main tight end. And then your main wide receiver. So you've got like 8 guys on an offense that really don't change a whole lot. But what can change is how the defense approaches it. What can change is how the defense aligns or lines up, matches up to these guys and provides a different look. And that's where I think the Lions are going to be the most different that they have been this year than they have been in years past, is that they're going to offer a different look with guys that are more multiple and versatile in their ability to do different things. And that's where defense can get dangerous, I believe, in a hurry. Coming up here in a little bit, I don't know why my topics didn't change. I should probably get rid of that real quick. We'll get rid of the topics for the day. I do want to touch on some NFC North news with McCarthy in Minnesota. If you guys haven't watched that video, man, things don't seem very copacetic in Minnesota right now. There's definitely something going on. And you can just tell by the way that McCarthy answered the questions, he's definitely not happy. And probably already understands or feels that he's the number 2 quarterback in the room. So things not going well in Minnesota. Not at all. Rather be fishing, Fred says. So what you're saying is they're going to be more like a Georgia defense where they rotate defensive players often. I honestly, I don't know how often Georgia. I don't watch a lot of Georgia football, so I if that's what they do, then yeah, I guess you could say that. But I don't want to put my hat on Georgia because I don't watch a lot of their games. I watch tape more than anything on guys, but I don't watch every single player. Like when I watch the Lions, I watch the team. But if that's what they do, then yeah. Hockey line shifts, man. I mean, that's exactly what it is. When you see a full hockey line shift, they pretty much try to change everybody out all at once. 3, 4, 5 guys would come to the bench. 3, 4, 5 guys would come onto the ice. Same thing in the NFL. Often you just have one guy, maybe 2 guys kind of rotating in and out, if they're going from their base to a sub package. I think it's going to be different this year. I think that you're going to see 2 defensive ends coming out. You might see 2 defensive ends and a linebacker coming out and a corner coming out and then a safety coming in, no new linebacker, 2 different styles of defensive ends, and then maybe even an extra safety and go 3 safeties, right? Speed, flexibility, pure tacklers is what I see too. A lot of these guys are great tacklers. So interesting stuff from Jack Campbell. I think he's going to be great. I really do. I mean, he already is, but I just think that he's going to take this defense to a new height this year. I'm just reading this article here by Tim Twentyman. He was talking about the rookie defensive lineman looking to show versatility. So something that I've been talking about, for the last several weeks. Here's what he said. He said the Detroit Lions have a roster filled with Pro Bowl and All-Pro talent on both sides of the football with Super Bowl aspirations in 2026. There's an established young core of veterans General Manager Brad Holmes is built around. Now, this article came out today at 7 a.m. What have I been telling y'all for a long time? That the core of this team, we talked about it yesterday, is probably one of the deepest cores I have ever seen on any team. And again, I'm going to throw some shade at the people that really have discredited Brad Holmes to date and don't like what he's doing. But then again, if you look at what he's really done, he really hasn't double backed or doubled down on one position early in the draft. He's made sure to add a new position with, a high profile piece all over the place. And that's what made this so interesting now in 2026 is when you look around, the team at the 22 guys on the field, offense, defense. I mean, you have like an all-pro, like he said, all-pro, Pro Bowl type player, probably at 85% of the positions. And you have more than 8 or 9, 10 of these guys now that have max deals or near max deals at the time they signed it. That doesn't happen very often. And having these guys now healthy this year and ready to roll, I think that you're going to see what Brad has been building. And what I mentioned to you guys about Les Snead or Howie Roseman, how they didn't win a Super Bowl till like their 8th or 9th year as a GM, and they barely even made the playoffs through that same time frame. And I think both of them didn't even make the playoffs the year before. It might not have been the case for the Eagles, or even missed the playoffs 4 years in a row, and then all of a sudden you win a Super Bowl. So Brad has outperformed both of those guys, and he's built a better roster than both of those guys to this point. I think the only argument that you could ever make is which quarterback was better or which quarterback offers you more. And I'm sorry, I still think that Jared Goff, even though he's not running around, I still think he's the better quarterback, obviously, than Sam Darnold and Jalen Hurts. But even Matthew Stafford, that's a tough one. I mean, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, their stats are almost identical. And I think that both those players do things a little bit differently. And I think that both those players do a lot of things that are the same. They're high processing football IQ. I mean, they process the play very quickly. Stafford's got a cannon for an arm. Jared Goff has a better than average arm. It's not bad. It's not elite, but it does the job. I think some people were even mentioning yesterday that, they saw or thought that maybe Jared Goff had a little bit more pop on the ball this year. And I'd say camera angles are funny, but Jared Goff has always had some pop. He just has a long windup. He doesn't have that short, that short windup and release. He's not as quick as a Matthew Stafford, but man, when he knows where he's going, he gets that ball out quick. And it's all about the processing, knowing where you're going before you throw the damn football, right? But anyways, Tim Twentyman goes on to talk about how, they've established a very young core of veterans, and they're building around this core of athletes. Detroit's roster is at a point where it can be difficult for late round draft picks or undrafted free agents to crack the initial 53. I feel it's kind of been that way for the last at least 2 years. And Detroit will also establish their 16-man practice squad. And I think this year, if they don't put at least a little bit more emphasis stacking, a safety in a corner, stacking a defensive end and a defensive tackle, at least, if not 2 of each position, you have to have at least 1 of each. Last year, I didn't see enough depth. Offensive line, I think you're going to have a couple more offensive linemen on the practice squad this year than we've had in years past because this offensive line is so damn deep. Linebacker, you have to have a linebacker this year on the practice squad. You have to. And whether that's a vet that you don't have to protect, but they're not going anywhere, or whether it's a young guy that you protect, that's fine. But they have to have more guys on this roster. And unfortunately, the way that they build it is all about the best football player. They don't care about the position. At least that's what I've noticed. That's what I think. It's my opinion that they don't care about the position as much as they do the player. So if you have 5 defensive tackles on the roster, on the practice squad, it's because those 5 are better than any of the corners, safeties, receivers, running backs, or anybody else. I kind of disagree with that method. I don't want to get rid of good football players, but try to trade them if you can. It's unlikely that you're going to be able to, but you can try. And then if that doesn't work out, I still think it would be better to have players in a position that know your offense, know your defense, and now you have depth on your 16-man versus Well, we don't have any tight ends on the roster or on the practice squad, so now we got to go out and find one. I don't like that method. And even though they've done a great job at managing it, I don't really care about that method. He talks about 6th-round pick Skylar Gill-Howard and 7th-round pick Tyree West, hoping that their versatility and athleticism that they showed in college will translate to the NFL and help them earn roster spots out of camp. I think it's going to be pretty tough. Maybe one of them doesn't make it, but then again, maybe we'll go through the roster here if we have enough time. I still want to go through the schedule a little bit and see what we come up with. He talks about Gil Howard, former Division II walk-on linebacker. If you guys didn't watch the interview that I did with Gil Howard, it's on the channel. Just go back, 4 weeks ago or whatever, right after the draft, and take a listen, man. What an amazing individual he is. What a great conversation we had that morning, or afternoon, excuse me. Gil Howard was a former Division II walk-on linebacker who was asked to gain 50 pounds. And I couldn't believe, not only did he do it, but he really didn't lose any speed. He became a big-time impact defensive lineman at Northern Illinois, eventually at Texas Tech, where he was fighting for every rep. And that was such a loaded defense. The fact that he was able to get on the field and then play the way that he did, I think that speaks volumes of the type of individual that he is. And again, despite the weight gain, what Tim Twentyman notes here is that he never lost any athleticism, and it was clear in his college tape the last 3 seasons that he didn't. He is undersized as a defensive tackle, 6 foot 280, but he can slice through the gaps as a 3-tech. He utilizes his leverage as his advantage, and he has a nice toolbox of pass rush moves that are going to allow him to be an interesting sub-package player up front. He is the exact reason that I think that the Lions are going to be doing a lot of things different. And it's not just because of that one player, but it's because of the skill set, the toolbox, the size, the athleticism that he possesses that makes this defense different. He had 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss in 2024, and then he had an ankle injury that ended his season after 6 games at Texas Tech last year. But he did record a sack and 2.5 tackles for loss, and then he also returned that 55-yard pick 6. He says here that, quote, I've only been playing defensive line for 3 years, and he says, I still have a lot to learn, and I feel like I've still come a long way. I just don't believe in having a ceiling. I think it's a great mentality to have. What else did he talk about in this? Inside, you got Lee McNeil, Tyleek Williams, expected to be starters with Onzarike, Mekhi Wingo, and others in reserve. Tyleek's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big year this year. I think he's going to have one of the biggest breakout years of any defensive tackle taken in the draft last year. According to our poll this morning, Ahmed Hassanin, we didn't get a lot of votes. Don't know what's going on there. You guys got to get those votes in. 62% believe that Ahmed Hassanin is your dark horse this year for the defensive end room. 19% say Levi Onwuzurike, and 19% say Peyton Turner, 0% to Miles Adams. I would agree, but I'm giving Levi Onwuzurike my dark horse this year, and it's not because he's been around the team for a while. I just think that if he's healthy and watching what he did in 2024, it's going to be really hard to walk away from Levi if he's healthy and he's playing like he did in 2024. He was a top 10 defensive tackle the way that he was playing end too, because he was like one of the last players left. He was playing defensive end in 2024, and he was playing at a pretty high clip. So if he's back to that, I'm going to give him my dark horse. I'm going to give him my dark horse to be special this year. And by special, that doesn't mean 10 sacks. All right, it doesn't mean 100 tackles. It just means that he's going to be able to play to a higher level and help this defense, not be a liability. Ahmed Hassanin, though, I think he's going to come in and he's going to compete just like the rest of the guys. Unfortunately, it's a really deep room. And I think that he's going to have a hard road in front of him, but he's going to work out. I think that Ahmed Hassanin is still going to have some growth in front of him between this year and next year, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's not a player that you brought in that you felt was just going to go in and immediately play and become a starter right away. It's a player that you had to invest some time in. Now, he's not going to believe that, right? And nobody else that supports him is going to believe that. But I've always been a big supporter of Ahmed Hassanin, and I still believe he's going to have some growth in front of him. He missed a lot of time last year. So this training camp is going to be extremely important, and what he does in the preseason is going to be extremely important, and I'm excited to see where he goes, this season, because last year his preseason got cut short, and I would tell you definitively that he didn't put enough on tape last year. And so this year's going to have to be a lot different. He has to play under control. And I think that's where Levi can edge out a player like that, because he has so much time in the league already that he understands the game. He understands the defense. He understands what to do. He's a little bit more polished. And so I think it's going to be a great competition in that room. And then you have Derek Moore in front of him. Derek Moore is going to pop. You have Peyton Turner, former first or second round pick. I think we went over that the other day. I think he's a second round pick. No, he's a first round pick. So it's a very deep room. And I get it. Not a lot of people are excited about Peyton Turner, but I am. I called him Davenport number 2 only because of the body size, the body type, the style of play. But if he lights a fire inside his own bottle, man, Peyton Turner is going to be a nightmare for opposing tackles and guards. So we have a very deep room. It's the deepest I've seen in a long time, with talent and the young talent and the new talent from this year's rookie class. So it's going to be a fun room. And here's, at the end of the day, I'll say this. It doesn't matter how many snaps Ahmed Hassanin plays. It doesn't matter how many snaps Levi Onwuzurike plays. It doesn't matter how many snaps Derek Moore or anybody else plays. The only thing that matters is that they stay healthy and that when they get their opportunity, they do something with it. That's the only thing that matters. So if they hold back the snaps a little bit to keep guys fresh, I'm all for that. But that means that every single one of those players has to perform. I'm predicting that the Lions will keep 6 defensive ends this year. It's something that they haven't done in a long time. They definitely didn't do it last year, but I'm predicting they're going to keep 6. And I think 2 of them are going to be more of your undersized guys that are going to bring a little bit more speed and a little bit more violence to the defense. So, like Ahmed Hassanin, 6'2", 275 pounds. I mean, he's one that's, you wouldn't say he's undersized from a weight perspective. From a height perspective, you could say that as a defensive end. But he brings a lot more speed. A lot more speed to the game that I think is going to give the Lions a little bit more of a unique ability. Mekhi Wingo, I want to say he was 300 pounds, but he's got some inside-outside versatility. And that's why the Lions brought him in. He's 6 foot 288, so he's kind of in that same boat as Skylar Gill-Howard. So the Lions have a size, man. They have a type that they like, and they want to see these players playing inside and out. The thing about all 3 of these players that they all have sub 33-inch arms, which you guys know for me is a problem. But as long as they're able to utilize every ounce of their body on every play, that's all that matters. Right, at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. Let's talk about Jack Campbell's worst pick of the 2023 NFL Draft. Let's see what some of these articles had to say. Maybe that's a good question there too. Let's put it up. This is a good question. Attila said that Brad knocked it out of the park. So, give me your true grade on the 26 draft for Brad Holmes. Now, we haven't played a game, so we have a long way to go. And I'm not going to do the minuses or the pluses. We're just going to go A, B, C, or D. Where do you think it's lining up? Let's add something to that, even though I didn't write it. Let's do this. Let's include the free agency period in that the draft and the free agency period. I should have said off season, but give me your off season grade, including the draft for Brad Holmes in that question. I'll tell you where I'm at. I would even though I didn't do pluses and minuses, I would say it's a B plus for sure. I have to see how these guys play to give them an A. But I'll tell you, I'm excited more than anything to see how these players do pan out. Let me take a brief break. I'll be right back. We're going to dip into a couple articles, and we're going to listen to J.J. McCarthy and get into some NFC North news. All right. So I wanted to look back at some of these articles, like Jack said, that they rated the worst picks out of the draft, and like I said, it's pretty tough to find the exact article, not knowing who wrote it. I tried looking in in Iowa, for any writers out in Iowa, and it wasn't really lining up. But I think I found a couple of things here to kind of go back and look at the history. Like what did these guys say? So this is by Tyler Sullivan. This was April 29th, 2023. And the headline here is NFL Draft 23, Packers selecting Sean Clifford and Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions among the biggest reaches. Well, that didn't age well, now did it, Mr. Tyler Sullivan? And like I said earlier today, stop listening to people that just don't get stuff right. Now, a lot of this stuff is opinion, right? A lot of writers, a lot of journalists, they write a lot of opinion stuff, but they're not right. They get a lot of stuff wrong. A lot of people get a lot of stuff wrong. But I guess the question that I would ask for y'all is, are you going to continue to follow people that get things wrong consistently, or are you going to start to follow people and listen to people that maybe get a few things right more than the other guy? And that's what I would be doing. So I tend to listen to people that get things right more often than not. All the other stuff to me is just noise, because every year it just seems like people just don't have anything good to say about the Lions each and every year, no matter what they do. But here you go. He says, in the 23 draft is winding down. An influx of talent has just been dumped into the league and scattered across the country. Of course, whenever any team submits a pick, it's with the hope that he turns himself into a household name and provides an immediate and long-lasting impact on the franchise. The reason why I wanted to read that part is because he says the hope is that he turns himself into a household name and provides an immediate and long-lasting impact on the franchise. Now, isn't that what Jahmyr Gibbs did? And isn't that what Jack Campbell did? Absolutely. So what did he say about Jahmyr Gibbs? He said, no one is questioning Gibbs' talent. He is CBS Sports number 14 ranked prospect overall and the number 2 running back in this class behind Bijan Robinson. This is more about positional value and whether or not you believe running back should be taken in the top half of the first round in today's NFL. Detroit decided to turn its head to the line of thinking and took the Alabama back with the number 12 overall pick. CBS Sports NFL draft analyst Ryan Wilson didn't even have Gibbs as a first rounder in his mock draft and was given a D grade by CBS Sports' Pete Prisco, precisely for the reasoning we illustrated. What reasoning was that? There were talented players on the board who play positions much harder to identify later in the draft, so this was a puzzling decision here by the Lions, even if Gibbs is as talented as they come. Well, Ryan Wilson, I hope you stopped doing mock drafts. And Pete Prisco, well, we all understand who Pete Prisco is, man. He can't stand the Lions. Don't really care what he said about the Packers. Let's look at Jack Campbell. So he says, feels like I'm picking on the Lions here a bit, but their first round decisions were a bit head scratching. I did like their day 2 moves, similar to the Gibbs selection. Taking an off-ball linebacker at number 18 felt like more of a luxury pick and could have found comparable players to Campbell on day 2. He was the number 2 ranked linebacker in this class and the number 40 prospect overall. CBS Sports' Ryan Wilson also didn't have Campbell as a first rounder in his final mock draft. While you can commend Detroit for identifying the guys it liked and going after them, the Lions probably could have moved back down the board, gained value, and still came away with the player. Well, I'll say the same thing I said about Gibbs. You probably should stop doing mock drafts, and you probably should have come out and said, I was wrong, after the fact, because it only took 2 years for Jack, and it took 1 year for Jahmyr Gibbs to show how invaluable they were to this team. Going back when I did my mock drafts and I talked about the players that year, I had Jack Campbell going to the Lions, but I think it was at pick 34. And then I had Jahmyr Gibbs going right at number 12. I wasn't shocked that they took Jack Campbell. I was shocked that they took him at 18. But here's why they did it. If Jack Campbell was truly, the number 2 ranked linebacker in that year's class, you can't wait until day 2. Maybe 34 he could have been there, but then again, all of the signs are pointing to someone was taking him in the first round. And if they weren't, maybe at pick 33 he's gone before the Lions had an opportunity, to pick him up in the second round. But they took the player that they wanted. They took the player that they felt, was going to answer the bell for them later. They took the player that was going to fill Alex Anzalone's shoes, and it was the right move. So, again, I wouldn't just listen to people just because they're writing stuff. I think that it takes a lot of talent to get things right, and we get a lot of things wrong. I get a ton of stuff wrong. That's just part of the process. But to consistently just talk crap about the Lions, I feel like it's now just this is what we do. We just dump on the Lions because, well, they can't do anything right, according to these writers. This next one was by Jordan Dejani. This was May 2nd, so about a week after the draft in 2023. Where does he talk about the Lions? Here we go. Now, this guy got it right. He said Detroit Lions best pick, A-plus linebacker Jack Campbell, round 1, pick 18. Says, I love this pick for the Lions. This kid will be special. He is big. He can run. He will improve as a cover player as he gets acclimated to the NFL. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. Well, wait a second. Oh, wait. Hold on. That's Pete Prisco. Pete, just a few moments ago, you said that this was a player that doesn't make any sense, that it's a luxury pick. I don't understand. Or no, I'm sorry. That was about Gibbs, right? That was about Gibbs. That wasn't Pete talking about Jack. My apologies. I thought that he said that about Jack, but that was about Gibbs that he said was a D grade. Let me go back down and read that again. All right, let's go back. So, worst pick, Jahmyr Gibbs. Yes, he's an airback. What is an airback? I've never heard that term. Yes, he can do a lot of things, but again, why take him there or here when there's a guy like corner Christian Gonzalez on the board? He's good, but he's a back. At least it wasn't a top 10 pick. Look, the Lions would have taken him at 6. They felt that they were going to get him, a little bit later. They gambled. They wanted Jahmyr Gibbs. They gambled. I think that the overall play at pick 6 was Devon Witherspoon, but when he was taken at 5, the Lions moved back. And if you guys haven't figured this out by now, let me explain something about Brad Holmes and his philosophy that I feel I understand. When the Lions are trading, moving back or moving up, typically moving back, the player that they wanted was taken in front of them. Every time they move back, the player that they wanted, I feel, was just taken in front of them. Whether it was the pick before, 3 picks before, 10 picks before. I think that you could definitely go back to the 2023 draft and you see the Devon Witherspoon more than likely would have been a Detroit Lion had he slipped to 6. And if that's the case, we probably don't get Jahmyr Gibbs unless the Lions move up from 18, package it with 34 or whatever pick they would have been able to package it with. I can't remember how we got 34 that year. But the point is that we probably don't have Jahmyr Gibbs if Devon Witherspoon is on the board. So in this case, Devon Witherspoon gets taken at 5, the Lions move back. This year, the Lions didn't move back off of Blake Miller, but they were trying to move up from sources saying it was Caden Proctor, and then they didn't make the trade to move up because Caden Proctor went to the Dolphins. So just go back and keep on looking. But it's funny how you get the worst pick D for Jahmyr Gibbs and another player that I called for the Lions in that draft. You gave him a B- for Hendon Hooker. So you could flip-flop those. Jahmyr worked out. Hendon Hooker didn't. I don't think that they have Jack in this one. They don't. Worst pick, best pick. Let's go to J.J. McCarthy. Oh, can't hear it. Hold on.
Hello, everyone. How we doing? Good. How are you? Doing great. Doing great.
Questions for JJ?
What was your reaction when the Vikings signed Kyler Murray? Look, the organization made a decision that they feel like is going to improve and the depth and the quality of the room. And, they feel like they made that decision. But, all I'm thinking about is continuing the upward trajectory that I set for myself last season, that last quarter of the season, and continuing to be the best version of me every single day.
How about the offseason, JJ? Did you do anything in particular? What was it like for you in terms of how you work out, train, all those things?
It was a first great offseason being an NFL player. And at the end of the day, it was just all about getting to this point, focusing on processing, focusing on making great decisions and, ball placement and putting it in the right spots.
Is that just physical reps? Or are you talking about looking at video or everything? What do you think?
Everything. Just like every quarterback, there's a lot of things to work on. And, we worked on those things.
JJ, Justin talked about you guys getting together, in some different places. So what do you think you can learn from those kind of reps, just you and him?
It's just building those, on time and on rhythm passes for each concept, each route. And, it's just tremendous to be around that guy every single day.
How was your work this offseason different, having those 10 starts now in the NFL under your belt?
It's really been the same as every offseason. Find things that I need to improve on and improve on those things so I could come out here and, do the best that I can for my teammates, coaches, and the fans in this organization.
What are some of those things that you pinpointed?
It's really like, all different kinds of quarterbacks have different things to work on. It's really not one size fits all with all the things you could work on. So it's just been a lot of things that help improve my game and, really just getting to the point of processing, focusing on the ball placement for each routes for certain coverages and stuff like that.
What do you think of Juwan Jennings, seeing him throwing it out there?
I'm so happy to have that guy part of the squad. He's got a great energy about him. Been watching him for a long time. He's been doing it really at a high level for a long time, and we're blessed to have him part of this group.
How do you approach this, from now until through training camp in terms of the competition and in terms of, you ended the season as a starter. Do you think of yourself still as a starter?
Every single off season, in season, I'm going to work my tail off. It doesn't matter what the situation is around me. I'm going to control what I can control and do the best thing I can for this team, and we'll do that.
You've been told it's a true competition at this point, or what's been told to you by Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff?
Yeah, it's a true competition. That's what I was told. But at the end of the day, it matters what I do out here every single day, and that's the only thing I'm focused on.
JJ, what's your relationship been like with Kyler so far?
It's just like two guys in a classroom. He sits on one side, I sit on the other side, and it's the coach's responsibility to teach us and coach us. So,
is there any awkwardness between you two?
Awkwardness, it's just like the same feeling, when you're in high school and there's another person on the other side of the room. That's just kind of how it is. So I wouldn't say there's any awkwardness.
JJ, coming out of off season, how was the recovery with your hand, and how long did that take you to get back to the point where you felt 100%?
It was, a few weeks, but at the end of the day, it was good time for just my mind, body, and spirit to really, reset. But yeah, it was about a couple weeks.
You that reflect that their decision to sign Kyler as a reflection of your standing with the organization or their assessment of you in terms of whether you can be the long-term starter here?
The organization is going to make decisions that are out of my control, and all I'm going to do is focus on what I can control.
This year, what felt different, if anything?
I feel like just the camaraderie, the guys, they really know who I am and what I'm all about. And, I think that really took a step. But at the end of the day, it's the same place we were in last year. We're starting at rock bottom,
I want to go back to something he said. I totally didn't understand where this comment comes from. It's like high school? What the hell does that mean? What do you, not even college? Not even, it's like my rookie year? It's like high school? You can tell he's definitely a little bit salty, right? But let's rewind it here for a minute.
Reset. But yeah, it was about a couple weeks.
You that reflect that their decision to sign Kyler as a reflection of your standing with the organization or their assessment of you in terms of whether you can be the long-term starter here?
The organization is going to make decisions that are out of my control, and all I'm going to do is focus on what I can control.
This year, what felt different, if anything?
I feel like just the camaraderie, the guys, they really know who I am and what I'm all about. And, I think that really took a step. But at the end of the day, it's the same place we were in last year. We're starting at rock bottom like the 31 other teams, and we're doing whatever we can to get better each and every day to make sure we end up where we want to end up.
So for you personally, when they made the move with Kyler, was it disappointing? I get that you get what they're doing, JJ, but was there a disappointment considering how you finished up last season?
Then I would be disappointed if the rain fell. That's out of my control. And at the end of the day, I just got to focus on what I can do to be the best quarterback for this football team.
Does it increase motivation, or do you just have that already?
I have a drive that, that's been driving me since 5th grade when I decided to be at this level and perform really well at this level. And that's the same drive that's running through me today.
Up and down as last year was and all the craziness of it, when you got it in your rearview mirror, did you learn a lot from last year? You experienced kind of everything from player of the week to injuries, up and down. All that. Was there a lot that came from that was positive?
Yes, I think any experience at all is the most positive thing you can get out of any situation in any profession. So, yeah, I feel like there was a lot of twists and turns last year that is going to help me prepare me for the future and, mold me in the best way possible.
Are your mechanics any different than they were this time last year?
Really, I'm just focusing on putting the ball in the right spot. At the end of the day, that's what it takes to win football at this level is putting the ball in the right spot, having great decisions, and, just playing on time with everything. So that's been the main focus.
Describe it, two guys in the same classroom. Do you feel like that is the most optimal way for you to be as good as you can be, to be in that type of situation?
At the end of the day, like I said, I work my tail off and I compete with myself every single day. So regardless of the external factors, I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing to get to this point.
Hello,
All right.
hello. I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Now we have Kyler come up. I'll play a little bit of Kyler too, but I just kind of want to recap a little bit here. I mean, the NFC North obviously is super important to us as Lions fans because when there's internal struggles going on another team, that helps us. Whenever there's a problem at the quarterback position, that helps us. And I don't want to see the negative stuff like, with Josh Jacobs. Like that kind of stuff doesn't help us. That doesn't help anybody. Really unfortunate situation. Whatever allegedly happened, I hope it works out for all parties involved. But with J.J. McCarthy, I stood firm on my 10 toes from day one. And I thought it had nothing to do with, me not being a U of M fan or anything like that. But I never really felt that J.J. McCarthy was going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. And largely because, or at least not right away. Now, that could change, right? That can absolutely change. But it was because he didn't have a ton of experience late in games, third, fourth down, passing the football. It was constantly Blake Corum and or him running the football. And in the NFL, that doesn't work, right? You need to have the confidence in your arm, and someone mentioned ball placement. You have to have the ability to be pinpoint accurate with the football when it matters most. When it matters most. Now, JJ's absolutely thrown some dimes. He's thrown some beautiful passes, but they're not consistent, right? They're few and far between. And he's had some late game heroics that he's, won a game with his legs. He's, made things difficult for the Lions. So I will say that, and it's not just him. I mean, it's the rest of the players on the team too, mostly the defense. The point is, I never felt that J.J. McCarthy was going to be a great quarterback for any team, but especially the Minnesota Vikings. They just, even though O'Connell is this quarterback whisperer or whatever, it just hasn't worked out. The injury didn't help him, but even prior to the injury to his ankle or whatever in his first year, I just didn't see the consistency with J.J. McCarthy from week to week to week. When I went back and watched some of his film and then watched him throughout the beginning, his rookie season, I didn't see the consistency there either. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have the fire. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have the winning mentality. It doesn't mean that he's not a good dude. I just don't see the consistency. Now, what's laughable is then you bring in a guy like Kyler Murray, who definitely doesn't have the consistency. If these guys want to run around with their legs, you are going to waste the $100 million man that you have out there in Justin Jefferson and the $70 million man that you have in Jordan Addison or whatever. You're going to waste your opportunity with players that you have signed to long-term deals. And I don't think that Minnesota wants to see that. And I don't think Kyler Murray's the answer either. Now, he's a much better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy right now. He's a different style. He has a lot of experience. But these guys are like two peas in a pod, man. When the game is on the line, when you need a player to use their arm to help you win a football game, neither one of these quarterbacks have been consistent. But I got the feeling from that video of that interview with J.J. McCarthy, man, he's not happy. You can tell that he's second fiddle right now, and he realizes that. But to say that this is like high school and it's just another guy on the other side of the room, like that doesn't seem like terms of endearment to me. Like, he's a leader, right? He's supposed to be a leader. Be a leader. And Kyler Murray is someone you can learn from. Soak it up. Now, maybe Kyler's over there in his own corner protecting his sheet. No, not putting his notes out there for anybody else to see because he wants to win the starting position too. I get it. And maybe JJ's on the other side doing the same thing, protecting his sheet, making his notes. Not giving up, the little things that he's realized with the offense or, what they're teaching that day. So I think that this is going to be a very interesting battle offseason, and whoever wins the job, I ain't worried. I am not worried one bit about Minnesota. I think the only thing that we really need to worry about this year is their defense, and we have to stay healthy. But I think the Lions are absolutely going to pound both of these quarterbacks and these teams when we get a shot at Minnesota. So very interesting. Let's listen to what Kyler Murray had to say. And I think what you're going to see here, or what you're going to realize, is the difference in the tone, the difference in the mentality and leadership from Kyler Murray. That's what I took away from it. I thought that he was more polished, and he says a lot of the right things. But is that everything? Let's find out.
It's nice to meet y'all.
Tyler, just these first couple days getting acclimated, getting on the field, what's it been like for you?
It's been great. It's been great. It's what I love to do. You know, ever since I was a little kid, be an NFL quarterback, be out there to chase my dream, winning Super Bowls, to be out here with the guys in a new environment, getting acclimated to Minnesota and the system, and like I said, just all the guys been welcoming me. It's been great. It's been awesome.
With JJ to this point?
It's been great. It's been great. Obviously, I know he's a younger guy, so any way I can help him. Obviously, I feel like I've played 7 years now, going on 8. So I'm considered a veteran, even though I don't see myself as that. Give him any knowledge that he needs. Again, we're both competitors, and I know we both want what's best for the team.
Been receptive to hearing
criticism? Of course. Yeah, he's overly acceptive, and he's always communicating, asking questions, stuff like that. So it's been good.
The system and learning the system, or is it about learning players and who likes balls where and what they do?
For me, the learning curve, I would say all of it. Obviously, timing with receivers, running backs, getting to know the guys off the field, and then KO, Josh, Wes, the guys. It's been great though. They've made me feel comfortable, bringing me up to speed. And I don't feel like I'm behind in any way.
Getting all up looks like that something you are familiar with in OTAs?
I wouldn't say B Flow's way, but I've played him a couple of times. I give him a little crap sometimes because I've obviously played him and I've had some success against his defense. No, I'm glad to be on his side now. I'm really glad to be on his side. Obviously, he's known around the league as one of the best DCs in the league. So to finally be able to see it, break it down, and ask him questions, pick things off of him, I feel great about.
You played against Jennings some, even though you were on the field at the same time. Well, what do you see from him here? What did you see from him?
Yeah, Juwan, honestly, getting to meet him now, it's been great. I understand what type of competitor he is. He's kind of given us fits for the past couple of years. Just really a dog, throw it his way, pretty, ugly, whatever way it gets done, and that's the type of guy, that's the type of energy and juice he brings to the team in the field.
How long does it take until you really start to have a level of comfort with an offense?
Yeah, I think right now at times things can move fast for you. Obviously, we're getting a lot of plays in, a lot of reps. As practice goes on, fatigue can set in. But I mean, that's the beauty of it. Right now is the teaching phase. Right now, I'm learning it all. We look up here 2 months from now, I should be ready to go in a much better place.
What are your thoughts on the receiver room as a whole?
I mean, I don't know how you can't love that room. Obviously you got the best receiver in the league, and then J.A. and the guys. You had Juwan, all the young guys that have the talent and the ability, that are hungry to go prove it. And then the tight end. I mean, you look at the skill position in general. It's I know it's widely regarded as one of the most QB friendly offenses around the league. So I'm happy to be here.
In your experience in the very short time you've been in it, in terms
For
of
sure.
quarterback
For
friendly?
sure. I'm looking around just like, it's kind of embarrassment of riches around here.
What are you doing to build?
I don't know why this is not on the screen. I don't know what
Just
happened.
being myself, being around the guys. No ego. Really just embracing the whole culture. And
there it is.
The community's been great. But the guys have also been awesome. They've been awesome. Hasn't been any weird energy or like that. They've welcomed me with open arms.
What do you tell the guys that play with you about paying attention to your feet because you use them so much, and to stay heads up and not have an illegal man downfield, all those things? How do you teach them that part?
Yeah, we haven't really spoke about that. I think that's just something that will come with time. Obviously, right now it's not full speed. Bullets aren't live, so when we get to that point, I think that naturally will happen. And the guys will probably get used to it then.
What's it been like to reunite with Byron? And did he, when you're looking at coming to a new team, does he tell you anything kind of about the culture? Is he helpful with that?
Yeah, I talk to Byron all the time, especially after the season, off season. Me and him came in together, so I know what type of guy he is, and that's the beautiful part about being here so far that I've seen is you got guys that want to win, guys that really love the game, that put the work in, and Byron's a testament to that.
Have you enjoyed the whole process of coming here? I mean, the duration of all of it.
It's been great. It's been great. You know, this is it's new territory for me. You know, never really expecting to be in the situation. Obviously, you know, things happen in the NFL. But now that I am here, you know, like I said, I feel like you can't draw it up any better. I was a fan of the Vikings growing up, and the fact that I'm here now, it's just I'm blessed. I'm honored. You know, I can't wait to put the jersey on. I can't wait to just again continue to embrace this whole situation.
What have you observed about Kevin O'Connell's coaching style that maybe stands out to you?
I mean, he could teach somebody that doesn't even know football how to play the position of quarterback. I believe super articulate. I've been around him a little bit before here, just in conversations going back to like Elite 11 days, the combine, stuff like that. So I remember every interaction I ever had with KO, which made this process a lot easier for me, understanding who he is and his ability to do what he does, at a high level, and his confidence in me as well. So I'm just excited to be in the room with him and get to learn from him.
You talk about the confidence he has in you. Just generally speaking, where is your confidence at as you kind of hit the ground running?
I mean, my confidence is unshakable. That's how I feel about myself. Regardless of what happens day to day, I know the next day I'm coming out here to give my best effort, put my best foot forward, and give whatever the team needs. So that's what you're getting with me as far as confidence goes. You won't see me waver.
What has the process been to try to pick up the language of what this system is compared to what you've been in before?
Yeah, it's really wordy, but I think really just reps doing it over and over again at the house, in the morning, on the way to the facility, on the way home, whatever it is. Whatever I need to do to get ready for the next day is what I got to do.
Hot in that stocking cap?
Right now, no, I got helmet hair. I don't want y'all to see all that right now. So.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Okay, so wanted to go through just a little bit of this morning in getting into some of the NFC North news, and I think that this is a big topic. Like, obviously, the quarterback situation in Minnesota is, I mean, it's hot right now. Like these guys, two totally different mentalities, right? I mean, Kyler Murray wants to play, all ears, wants to learn, wants to listen, super appreciative of everything, not throwing any shade. Matter of fact, in the very beginning said, hey, he's still a young player. I want to help him do, everything and anything that he can. Anything that I can teach him, I'll give him. You didn't hear that from McCarthy. And I think someone in the chat just mentioned something about McCarthy's ego. And if I understood what your message was, it was maybe his ego, JJ's ego, appears to be more of an ego after listening to Kyler. Did I get that right? And if that's what you're saying, I agree. Like, the ego is way up here, and he's done nothing in the NFL. You need to be look, I think Kyler's a good dude. He's clearly not the best quarterback in the league. I have my prototypical sizes, right? It's one thing to be Drew Brees and go out and prove it. Then, hey, I got all the respect for you in the world because you've gone out and you've proved it, right? But coming into the league being a little bit shorter, I'm just, that's not the type of quarterback I would ever select because, I mean, the proof is there. There's very few quarterbacks that have ever been sub 6 foot or 6 foot, 6'1" even, and done very well in the league. That's why for me, it's 6'3.5" and up. That's where I like to see my quarterbacks, that I'm looking at from year to year, 6'3.5" and up. I'd like to see them be 200 pounds or better so they can take some hits. And so look around the league, man. There hasn't been a whole lot that have done well, being a little bit shorter. So Kyler's done okay, but he has a problem seeing over the line of scrimmage when you've got these big tackles and guards in front of him. It's not news. This is nothing new. It's something that he's dealt with. That if you look at his throwing pattern, there's a clear area that he's not hitting on both sides of the field, and that's because he can't see. He has to roll out to get it to the outside. Or he tends to kind of, really pattern, or paint, if you will, the intermediate routes, that are kind of, hash mark, if you will, kind of on the hash mark. That's where he kind of paints a lot of his balls because he can see there. And it's usually cross-field throws. So he's throwing from the left side over to the right, or he's throwing from the right side a little bit over to the left. He's never just standing in the middle and he's throwing it, over to the right side because he can't see. So that's why I wouldn't take a smaller quarterback. But at the end of the day, this is not what this video is about. This is an interview talking about his time so far in Minnesota and what it means to be a Viking and how he feels he can help the room. And he just wants to help the room. He's not talking about being the starter. He's not, saying he's better than JJ. He's not throwing any shade. He's not calling him the other guy on the other side of the room. I mean, JJ just kind of put his foot in his mouth. And now he has to really go out there and show that he can do it. I think he has all of the ability in the world, but remember, the best ability is availability. You got to be on the field, and you got to be open to suggestion. You have to be coachable. And some of the, the grumblings of J.J. McCarthy coming out of college wasn't so much about his ability. It was more about, is he coachable? And I think we're starting to see that maybe J.J. McCarthy is a little bit less coachable than what you anticipated. And that's not going to help him. He has to be able to accept everything, especially the criticism. It comes with the position, man. It really does. So obviously things aren't going well in Minnesota just yet. We'll see how it transitions for the season. Now I want to get into the schedule for just a few moments. I started a little late today, so we'll go an extra 10. I am going to cut back to 2 hours for the majority of the offseason. And I will also... I will also be doing some more night shows and maybe not one morning show every week because I got some things I got to do in the morning right now that might interfere. All right, let's get into, where's it at? There we go, schedule. Okay. Now, we've talked about the schedule a little bit this year. Haven't really dove super deep into the schedule as far as where do I see the Lions winning, losing, yada, 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 right? Eric and I went through the whole schedule. We kind of gave our brief. This is where I see the advantages, disadvantages. This is where I see the Lions potentially winning, not winning. But now that we know where the schedule lies and where we're playing, when we're playing, does anybody think that we're gonna lose in the opening week to the Saints? I think the Saints are going to be a team that we need to watch. I think the Saints are going to be a team that can do some things this year. If we're not careful, they could throttle us if we're not careful. But I don't think that the Lions are going to act that way. I think that the Lions are going to come in and they're going to take care of business in week 1. And that's a home game, right? It's a home game to open up the season. I love it. And then we get to go to Buffalo. Not only do we get to go on the road to Buffalo, which I wish I would have had an opportunity to go to the old stadium. Now it's being demolished, but it's a brand new stadium. Look, the Buffalo Bills are going to be playing at their highest level. They get to welcome all their fans in for the first, I think it's the first home game for them that year or this year. Do we think that the Lions have any opportunity to lose in this game? New coaches, right? New systems. That can throw a wrench in things because the Lions have to kind of figure out what they're doing quickly. It's also week 2. And I think that if Dan Campbell doesn't change what he's been doing over the last few seasons, and if he doesn't put the starters in preseason at least a little bit, what do we always do every year? We always start a little bit slow. And week 2 has been our Achilles heel, man. It just seems like week 2 has always been a problem for us. Let me go back and look at, where's that? Look at the schedule from the past. Hold on. I forgot to pull something up. Okay. So week 2 in 2021. What a terrible year that was. God, that was such a terrible year. We lost to the Packers. Week 2 in 2022. I think we beat Washington that year. Week 2, we beat Washington, so we're 1-1. Week 2 in 2023. Where's it at? We lost to the Seattle Seahawks in overtime. Home game. So we're 1-2 in week 2. 2024. I think we won week 2 in 2024. Oh no, we lost to the Bucs in 2024. So we're 1-3 through 2024. 2025. We throttled the Bears. So we're 2-3 under Dan Campbell. So week 2 has kind of always been a problem for us. Now, I didn't look at week 1. I probably should have, but it seems like we've always started out a little bit slow. And we can't do that this year. So right now I've got us beating the Saints, and I really think we're going to go in and handle the Bills. Look, it's still Josh Allen. They still have a good defense. It's all new though. So I'm hoping that, maybe they're going to start a little bit slow and that we're not. So let's just say we're 2-0, and now we take on the Jets. The Jets have an insane defense, but this is a home game. This is going to be one of the best games of the year. I feel like this is where you're putting the best offense against what could be the best defense in the league this year. Aaron Glenn's going to be ready. He knows this offense. If there's a game that we could lose simply because Aaron Glenn knows everything pretty much about this offense, this could be the team that could beat us early in the season. What do you guys think about the Jets? Do you think that we lose to the Jets, or do you think that Dan puts it on them like he did to the Bears last year to Ben Johnson, 52-21? I forget what Eric said, but what do you guys think? Do you think we beat the Jets? I think we beat the Jets. I think we have to beat the Jets. Have to. If there's a team that scares me, it's week 4. We just don't know what the Carolina Panthers are going to be. We have no idea what team this is. And that, I believe, was it a Monday night game or Sunday night game? So let's just say we're 3-0 through the first 3 weeks. I think we're going to be tested in week 3 defensively, and I think we're going to be tested in week 2 offensively. And quite honestly, I think we're going to be tested in week 1 offense and defensively, because that team started to show themselves early, I believe, last season, and then they kind of fell away. And the Saints caught out to a pretty hot start last year. If I remember, let me get their schedule up. Where is it? Preseason. Here we go. Maybe it wasn't last year. Maybe it was 24. Yeah, maybe it was 24 that I'm thinking. Saints didn't look like they did too much last year. Early. And didn't they ended up trading somebody, one of the receivers? Rashid Shaheed. It's probably the player that I'm thinking about why they got off to a good start was just because of him. They traded a few players. Rashid Shaheed, Trevor Penning, Jalen Polk, which that was a good pickup, and Devon Godshaw. The Patriots picked up 2 of their players. Anyway, Saints have been rebuilding now for a couple of years. Anyway, I think we win week 1. I think we win week 2, and I think that we narrowly escape the Jets in week 3. Week 4 against the Panthers. This is a defense that could be pretty good this year. Let's see where they finished last season. 16th total defense. Sounds a lot like the Lions, right? Their DVOA was 22nd, and they were 23rd in EPA per play. Big plays versus the pass rush. Their pass rush unit was remarkably opportunistic, though. I mean, they ranked 10th in turnovers. They forced 10th in turnovers and only allowed the 6th fewest explosive plays of all teams last year. That is why the Panthers scare me a little bit, because we just don't know, are they going to hit the ground running early in the season, or is it going to take them a minute like it did last year? I'm going to err on the side of caution. I think that they're going to come in ready to roll. Now we're going to be on the road. I should say that we're going to be the ones, going in ready to roll, but they're going to be ready for us. I think week 4 is a week that I'm going to circle as a potential loss. And then week 5 against the Cardinals, look, there's no way that we can lose that game. We can't. That's a total rebuild out there, and I'm just not excited for the Cardinals. I think that they're a team that is just not. They're not ready. They're not ready to see us. So that puts us at like 4-1 by the bye week, and I'd say that's. I mean, even if we're 3-2, I'd say that we're good at the bye week. We get into the second part of the schedule against Green Bay in week 7, and that is a home game, an afternoon game too. That's a game that we win. Obviously, we're not losing to the Vikings. Clearly, we're not losing to the Dolphins. And then we go to Germany, and this is where the schedule gets pretty rough. November 15 to November 22nd, we get 7 days to fly all the way back, which is going to take an entire day just to fly all the way back. And then you have to turn around and get ready for a game, get rid of the jet lag and everything else. Like that's pretty rough. I would like to see the Lions, like, I don't know what their schedule is, but I would like to see the Lions leave Detroit like November 10. Like, get out of town 2 days after, or leave right from Miami. Just leave right from Miami and go out to Germany. Get settled in, get to a practice facility, and just get ready for the game against the Patriots. You will be more well-rested. If they try to leave a day or 2 or 3 before, that would just be idiotic. They need to get out of here early. I sure hope that they do. So the Patriots, look, this is going to be a tough game. Patriots have a lot going on. They're a damn good team. They lost a few good players, but they also played a 4th place schedule last year. So who are they really? I think we win that game. We come back for the Bucs. Look, I think that this is a game that we can win too, but this is also a game that I think we could drop just because of the rest factor. And they're on a grind right here. So let's just say we drop one to the Bucs, and we have to beat the Bears. So that would give us 2 losses through the first 12 weeks of the season. And if it works out that way, I say we're in good shape. In the last third of the schedule, the Falcons, look, I don't think that that's a team that we should lose to. I think it's going to be an interesting game for the defense. The Titans, look, that's a game that I would circle as a potential that we could have some issues in that game. And then the Giants would be the only next game that I'm worried about. And then finishing on the road against the Bears again at the end of the season, and against the Packers at the end of the season. 2 games that are going to be outside in the cold. Well, I guess here's what I'm saying. If we don't finish the season by the Giants game, and we don't wrap it up by the Giants game, I think we're going to be in a little bit of trouble finishing out on the road. Now, thankfully, we have 2 really good running backs, and we have a brand new offensive line, and hopefully we're healthy. But I'm just hoping that the Lions can wrap up the division before week 17 and put themselves in a prime position to either have the 1 or the 3 seed by week 17 there. And all we need to do is beat the Bears or the Packers to wrap up the 1 seed. That would be the best outcome for this team this year on against these against this fourth place schedule, but this is not really a fourth place schedule. I don't know why people are looking at this and saying it's an easy schedule. Anytime you play a divisional opponent to end your season, that's tough. And to have 3 out of 4 games, finishing your season 3 out of 4 games against divisional opponents, that's extremely rough. Interesting though. So I'm still going to put us at 14-3, probably no less than 13-4, and I think 12-5 is going to wrap up the division. I don't think it's going to take 13 wins this year. I think 12-5 is going to wrap up the division. So that would mean if the Lions can go drop 2 in the first 12 weeks, that would be 8-2. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I'm sorry. That would be 9-2. That means the Vikings game that we have at home on December 20th, if we can win that game and we get to only 2 losses on the season, we should have the division locked up. I'm hoping. Like that's the goal. And then beating New York, the Bears, or the Packers, if one of those games pushes us over the edge to have the 1 seed, I think that's where the best opportunity lies. But we have to go into the Vikings game with 2 losses, no less or no more than 3 losses to have a shot at the 1 seed. I think this year. I think that's how it's going to work out for me. But anyway, I just wanted to have a brief conversation. Nothing too crazy. Nothing concrete. When I put out my article, hopefully this week, I'm going to go through and give you guys exactly what I think. I'm going to break down each team a little bit and probably do like 300-400 words on each team, and then give you my idea and the way too early schedule prediction. And then after we get through training camp, I'm going to give you my next prediction. And then once we get through all of the preseason, I put out my final prediction of the year. I still have my board, though. I didn't change the board. That one has the first way too early. And I'll keep that. I'll post it up somewhere. But everything that I took down off the wall, I'm going to give away. So I spent a lot of money building this wall. And like the first time, all those different things that I bought through Foco or Fanatics or whatever, I'm going to start giving away pieces of the wall. And so if you want to get into the drawing for that, we'll just do it on one show, and whoever's in the chat, you'll have an opportunity to win some pieces off the wall. Just kind of like my thank you to you guys for all the time that we spent together. And I just thought it'd be a unique way to kind of give back to y'all. So, all right, I'm out of here. We'll see you guys. I'm going to go get some lunch. I got a lot of work to do today. So you guys have a wonderful day, and let's keep grinding, man. Again, congratulations to Jack Campbell. Could have happened to a better guy, and I really think we're gonna have a good season. I really do. I think that we're heading in the right direction, and I think that Dan and Brad have done absolutely all the right things this offseason to ensure that we're gonna field the best team possible. Again, it's just all about health, right? It's all about health. Got to stay healthy. So, all right, we'll see you guys. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share, hype it up when you're all done, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, adios.